The draw is out for Roland Garros 2024 for the men's side, and it is absolutely nuts. Honestly, it's crazy. And we're going to get into it in extreme detail because I'm going to go through every single match in the first round, and we're going to work our way through the rounds, and ultimately I'll give you guys my predicted winner. But first of all, I'm going to very briefly talk about the people that are missing, so notable omissions, and also projected quarterfinals. Before we get to that, though, guys, spoiler alert, but Rafa Nadal is playing Alexander Zverev in the first round. What? And not just that, I'm being serious. These first round matchups, some of them are unbelievably good. Like, we're going to get spoiled. We're going to get spoiled. If you have any plans for the next 2 weeks, just cancel them. Just cancel them. Because on the WTA side, it's always stacked anyway, and the matchups are always competitive. But on the ATP side, this is arguably one of the most. I reckon this is one of the most open, in fact, probably the most open Roland Garros that we've had anyway, since Rafa first won Roland Garros, however many years ago that was. And it was already open going into it because there's so many question marks around the top players who won it in the past, and former other players like Tsitsipas and Zverev who've never won it. They've never won a slam either. And then you put in the draw and you throw in a spanner to the works, and you're just thinking, who's going to win this? We could have someone extremely random winning it, honestly. And it's going to be a free for all. It's like a battle royale when you have one of those games and it's just like everyone just fighting against everyone. I mean, it's going to be carnage, but it's going to be so entertaining. So, as a neutral, if you're watching, you're going to love it. If you're supporting a specific player, you may not love it, but you know what? You're just going to go with the chaos. Okay, let's talk about notable missions, then projected quarterfinals, and then get into the meat, which is the draw, of course. Apologies to vegans, of course. Into the main course. So, ATP, notable missions, Matteo Berrettini. Look, I mean, he's been on and off, I think, this year with injury. He's clearly struggling. It's a massive shame, but not surprising. Yuri Lehechka, who, again, was injured during Madrid. But look, he's been playing some good tennis. It's a massive shame. And then Diaz Acosta, who, again, has been playing some good tennis on clay. So, a big shame, I think, for him. Because look, he's been playing some good clay court tennis, and Roland Garros is where you really want to showcase it. It's the marquee tournament of the clay court swing. Projected quarterfinals. Now, take these with a pinch of salt because there's a lot of obviously potential banana skins for a lot of these players. But Djokovic Casper Ruud is the first projected quarterfinal. The second projected quarterfinal is Zverev and Medvedev. The third projected quarterfinal is Rublev and Alcaraz, and the fourth is Hurkacz and Sinner. So, yeah, no Tsitsipas, of course. He's not in the top 8 at the moment, so that is a big surprise to a lot of people who, I think before the start of this year, you would have expected him to be in the top 8, but he's not. He's dropped down the rankings a bit, despite having a strong clay court swing. And yeah, he comes into this with an interesting section. And not the easiest first round either, but we'll get into that in a second. So let's get into the draw. Djokovic plays a wild card in Pierre Hugues Herbert. The wild card, hopefully I haven't butchered that pronunciation. We'll go for Djokovic. He's looking pretty good in Geneva as well this week. Just beat Hanfman yesterday and beat Greek Sport in straight sets today. So, yeah. Look, I mean, Djokovic is playing some good tennis. And is he playing his best tennis? No. But considering how he was playing in Monte Carlo, where he went the semi-finals, looked okay there, to be fair. But I think it was more that Rome loss to Tabio. This is a real pick-me-up, I think, and a confidence booster. And I think he actually made the right decision playing Geneva because he clearly was lacking a bit of confidence, and this is going to help him. So why not? Carles Bayana plays Lestian. We'll go for Carles Bayana. And then look, this is where the madness starts. Gael Monfils versus Thiago Seyboth Wilch. I mean, this is crazy. Absolutely crazy. We'll go for Gelmon Feast. I think he loves playing in Paris, and last year he was against Baez, and he came from 5-2 down in the deciding set and managed to turn it around and win. I mean, what a ridiculous match that was. But he clearly loves playing here, and look, I think he's going to give it his all. It's not his best surface, in my opinion, but a slow clay court that is. Oh my gosh, I choked to myself. A slow clay court that is, but it should be, in my opinion, a good version of Monfils that turns up. Then we've got Musetti and Galan. Galan is not a bad player on clay courts, but Musetti should get through there. He should. He really should. Cerundolo and Hanfman. This is a tough one for Cerundolo. Again, this is such a good first round matchup. But we've got some really highly competitive clashes here. I mean, Cerundolo hasn't been in the best of form. Hanfman is relatively dangerous on clay, but we'll go for Cerundolo. Christopher O'Connell has a qualifier, so qualifying still going on. We'll pick O'Connell. Again, it's a bit annoying. I mean, I don't know how they would do it because the schedule's so packed, but it would be good if when the draw comes out, if you know you're going to be playing a qualifier lucky loser, like who are you going to play? Who are you going to play, right? Because it's not ideal when you get picked against a qualifier lucky loser and you're not unsure. Like other players who are picked against unseeded players, you'd imagine they've got a bit of an advantage, no? I mean, that's just how I see it. Also, I haven't gone into the qualifiers and qualifiers to potentially watch because I'm going to be honest, I've looked at qualifying. Apart from maybe someone like Medvedev, there's not really anyone that sticks out to me as someone who could make a deep run here. Quinton Hallis, maybe another one. He's French, and also he does have good quality and had a good season last year. But generally speaking, yeah, there's not a huge amount of players that stand out. Fognini, Van der Zandschop, another really good first round matchup, and we'll go for Fognini to take it with his experience. Tommy Paul to beat Cashin for me, and then another American and Argentinian matchup with Fritz versus Korea. Look, Clayla Fritz is looking pretty good. He's looking pretty good. So, yeah, let's see how he can get on. Dusan Lajovic versus Roman Safiullin. We'll go for Lajovic. I do like Lajovic on clay, and I think, yeah, having a bit more time on a slower surface seems to suit his game. I'm not saying that he's going to make the semi-finals of this slam, but yeah, he can cause some damage in the early rounds. Popyrin and Kokkinakis in an all-Australian affair. Kokkinakis for me. Kokkinakis should take that. Manarino plays a qualifier, so Manarino. And then a really good first round matchup here. Look at this. Thomas Echeverry versus Kazal. Probably butchered his name, haven't I? Kajal? Is it Kazal? Kajal? Let me know in the comment section if you're French. Echeverry I'm going to go for, though. Even though I think this could be a potential banana skin. Honestly, it could be. With a crowd, and also he's a very talented player, the Frenchman. Let's see. Rindenek to beat Walton, I think, for me, the wild card. And Davidovich Fokina has a qualifier. We'll go for Fokina. Bro, I mean, Casper Ruud must be looking at this draw and thinking, what have I just drawn? I mean, apart from Nadal, it couldn't get much worse. He's drawn Jakub Mensik, who's a really talented young Czech player. This is a potential upset alert, honestly. I know Casper is really good on clay. I get that. He's made 2 Roland Garros finals. He's playing Geneva this week as well, so he should be sharp. But Jakub Mensik is not someone to be trifled with. Honestly, he's not just going to roll down. He's going to fight. So, look, Ruud should win, but don't count out Mensik. He could cause him trouble. We'll go for Casper Ruud. Zverev and Nadal, this is the one which, look, 14-time Grand Slam champion Nadal versus number 4 player in the world in Alexander Zverev, multiple Masters won and Grand Slam final or finalist even. They played in 2022 and Zverev, looked really good. It was 1-set tiebreaker in the third set. There's always question marks what would have happened if Zverev didn't, rupture his ankle and have to walk off on crutches. I don't know. Maybe he wins. Maybe he doesn't. Nadal's only ever lost 3 times at Roland Garros, so look, it's not impossible, but it's improbable. And look, I mean, that was probably a missed opportunity for him. I'm sure he would have liked to have at least played it out to see how he could have got on with Nadal. But either way, this is a big opportunity for Zverev, no doubt. It's an opportunity to get revenge, but not just that. I think it's an opportunity to really boost his confidence. He's just won Rome, and he's on a high from that. If he beats Nadal in the first round, the amount of confidence he gets from that, and the rest of the draw, their road to the final, is not too bad. I think they'll face either a qualifier, or sorry, a wild card in Pericard or Goffin in the next round. So that's not too bad, right? It really isn't. So I don't know. I don't know. Zverev can start slow in tournaments, and he's been taken to 4 or 5 sets in a lot of early rounds, but Nadal just doesn't look sharp, and I think he'd need to raise his level. I would say 2 levels above what he's been playing at currently. That's how I see it right now. I'm gonna go for Zverev. As a Nadal fan, everyone knows who watches the channel that I'm a Nadal fan. I'm a fan of all players, but growing up, he was my guy. But I just, yeah, I think it's look, maybe it sparks something being at Roland Garros and suddenly picks it up a notch and takes it up a notch. But I think it's difficult to say that's going to happen. David Goffin's come through against Pericard, and I've got Darderi to beat Hijikata. Greek Sport to beat McDonald. Again, look, Greek Sport's not a bad player. He's had some good moments against some top players. Hachinot to beat Nagel, and I've gone for Giron to the qualifier. Kaboli, of course, against qualifier. And then, look, again, this is where the first round matchups start to get really complicated again, in a good way. But not in a good way if you're Holger Rune. Holger Rune, by the way, he's number 13 seed. He's dropped down the rankings substantially. Rune, this year is not being good for him. It's just bizarre year, coaching changes and all sorts, and just needs to settle down. And it's like I don't really know what his style of play is at the moment. I feel like he plays so many different ways, and he just needs to nail it down. Are you going to be a counterpuncher? Are you going to be aggressive? Are you going to come to the net a lot? Like, what are you going to do? And like, you can be an all rounder, but there needs to be a really distinct way to how you play. I feel, and I don't feel like he's got that. I feel like he doesn't have an identity when it comes to his style of play. But yeah, Dan Evans is a really tricky first round, honestly, and Rune hasn't been playing great. So this is a big opportunity for Evans. But I'm going to go for Rune to make his way through it and navigate it. Dimona versus Mikkelsen again. Mikkelsen has just beaten Taylor Fritz in Lyon, I think it is. And look, this is tough for Dimona. Dimona's not a clay court. We'll go for Dimona to just edge it. RBA to beat Manar. Struff has a qualifier, so does Bublik. And then Navone, who's got a seeding, number 31. Love it. Against Carreno Busta. Pablo Carreno Busta's not played much. He's not played much tennis. I'll go for Navone. And then Machak Borges. Oh, that's a good one. On clay as well. Ooh, Thomas Machak, but that's a tight one. Kemanovic qualify. Kemanovic. Look, this is a tough first round for Medvedev. Kepfer is no slouch, especially on clay. He could lose this. He really could. We'll go for Medvedev. Rublev again. Taro Daniel. I mean, that's not easy. Rublev. Pedro Martinez, who just won a challenger in Bordeaux. We got to interview him, by the way. Check it out on the channel if you're interested. He plays Thiago Agustin Tarante. Go for Pedro Martinez. He's been in good form. Luca Nardi versus Alexandra Muller. These are some really good matchups. Holy moly. Look at these Italian and French matchups. There's 3 of them in a row. What? We'll go for Nardi. We're going to Nardi? No, Muller. Well, Muller. We're going to go for Muller. Arnaldi and Fields. Fields must be thinking, what? Again, we asked him some questions at the Border Challenger. Go and check it out on the channel if you're interested. Mate, this is a tough one. I know he's a good player, but on clay, we'll go for Fields, especially with the crowd. Senego. Umber's not a great clay courter. Senego is probably not really at home as much on clay either, is he? Maybe. We'll go for Umber, though. We'll go for Umber. Gone for three. Gone for three Frenchmen to beat three Italians there. Zhang and Vukic will go for Vukic. Altmaier to beat Zer. Look, Tsitsipas, this is not an easy one. Marton Fucsovic is not an easy proposition. He's got a solid game. Tsitsipas will have to be, on his A game, or at least on his B game or B plus game against Fucsovic. Needs to be solid, that's for sure. I'll go for Tsitsipas. Shelton Gaston, I can see Gaston beating him. With the crowd as well, Gaston loves it. Gaston to beat Shelton, I've got a big upset in the first round, and I just don't see Shelton making big inroads at Roland Garros anyway. Qualifying, Nishikori go for Nishikori. Purcell also go through. Nishioka versus Felix Auger-Aliassime. Felix could lose that. I'll go for Felix. Korda, Mayo, wildcard for Korda. Mate, that's a tough one. Rusevori, Sunu Kon. Some of these matchups are insanely good. Rusevori, Draper to be a qualifier, same with Alcaraz, same with Hakac. Then Nakashima versus Moreno de Alboron. Nakashima. Shapovalov, Van Ash. I'm not convinced by Shapovalov at the moment. We'll go for Van Ash. TFO to be a qualifier, same with Tabilo. And Thompson, Matera Thompson. Marijan to be a qualifier. Dimitrov to beat Kovacevic. Look, Nico Jarry is going to have the crowd on his back. He's playing Mute. He should have too much. He's just made the Rome final as well, so he'll be on a high. He should have too much for him. Shevchenko, Karatsev. That's a 50-50. Karatsev isn't the best on clay. I'm going to Shevchenko. Offner to be Atman. Baez and Nori to go through. Baez has qualified Nori to beat Kotov. And then look at this. Battle of the three-time Grand Slam champions, Wawrinka Murray. Look, I love you, Mazza, but Wawrinka on clay. I think you got to pick him. Gasquet, Chorich, what? I don't know. Tough one to call, actually. I'm going to go Chorich. Eubanks, Sinner. I mean, if it was Eubanks on grass or even on a hard court, I'd say that's a really tough draw. I think on a clay court, I don't see it as being a tough proposition, but who knows? Eubanks could easily prove me wrong. Djokovic beat Cobes Biana. That's an easy second round for me. Djokovic's draw is not terrible. It's not. Monfils Musetti. Wow, what a great second round that would be. I'm going to go for Monfils to cause the upset on paper, given he's not seeded. Then Cerundolo to beat O'Connell. I'm going to go for Tommy Paul to beat Fognini. And I'm going to go for Lejovic to upset Fritz. It's just something about Fritz in slams. He just doesn't quite seem to be able to make it work. And after that loss to Mikkelsen recently, I don't think it's going to help. Manarini Kokonaks will go for Manarino. I think he'll frustrate him. Echeverry to beat Rindenek and Ruud to beat Fokina. Zverev to beat Goffin. Griesport to beat Darderi. Hatchnot to beat Giron. Rune to beat Kaboli. Dimaner to beat RBA. No. I'll go for RBA to beat Dimaner. I think Dimaner on clay is just not the same proposition as Dimaner on a hard court or grass court. And then what a match this would be. Struff versus Bublik. Oh, yeah. This is what we want. This is what we want. I'm going to go Struff. Bublik on clay is, not, again, not the same proposition as facing Bublik on hard court, especially grass. Navon and Machak go for Machak. Medvedev has kept Manovic. Not an easy match, but Medvedev. Rublev, Pedro Martinez. He could upset him. He really could. We're going to go Rublev, though. Muller Fields. We'll go Fields. Umberto Vukic. Tsitsipas to beat Altmaier. Gaston Nishikori. Gaston. Max Purcell, Felix Auger-Aliassime to go through. Korda to beat Rusevori. Alcaraz, I mean, look, if he's anywhere near fit with the arm, I think on a clay court, he wins. If it was Jack Draper on grass or hard court, then, we're having a different discussion. Hakac and Nakashima. I'll go Hakac. I've been quite impressed with how he's been playing on the clay. He seems to be more comfortable on the red dirt recently. I'm going to go for Van Ash to beat TFO. TFO's results have been so inconsistent recently. Tabilo to beat Thompson. He's been in good form. Dimitrov to beat Marajan. Jarry to beat Shevchenko. Baez to beat Offner. I'm going to go for Stan the Man to beat Nori, which would be an upset. Instead of to beat Chorich, that's not an easy. Eubanks, Chorich. Whoa. He could drop some sets there. I mean, round 3 for Djokovic is a piece of cake because he's got Monfils, who's never beaten him. I think it's like 27 and love. No, sorry, 27 to 0. Something ridiculous. Something ridiculous. Or maybe it's 18 and 0 even. Sorundolo, Tommy Paul. I mean, I know Monfils had the crowd on his back on his side. I'm hoping we see it just because I'd be intrigued to see like whether Monfils can up it. But the matchup is clearly terrible for Monfils. Sorundolo, Paul will go Paul. Will go Paul? Yeah. Leovic beat Manarino? Yeah, sure. Ruud Echeverry. Ruud's got a tough draw. Ruud's got a tough draw. Ruud. Zverev to be Greek sport. I'm going to go for Hatchner to be Rune. I'm just not convinced with Rune whatsoever. I don't see him going deep. I'm going to go for Strut to be RBA. Medvedev to be Machak. I'm going to go for Fields to be Rublev. Is that crazy cool? Does Rublev have too much power? We'll come back to that in a second. It's supposed to be Umber, I think. Yep, on clay. And Hugo Gaston to beat Felix. Yeah, I can see it. Corda, Alcaraz. Alcaraz's route's not easy. He's coming up against some tough young competitors in Draper and Corda. That's not great. Hakac, Van Ash, Hakac, Tabio, Dimitrov. Dimitrov could struggle. I'm going to go Tabio. Cause the upset. I'm going to go for Jarry to beat Baez. He's got too much power. Sinner to beat Wawrinka again. That's not an easy one. Wawrinka. I mean, Sinner's draw is not great. Djokovic's draw doesn't look terrible, to be honest. It's not amazing, but so I picked Arthur Fields over Rublev. Is that Fazan? Does that seem right though to you? No, because I think his backhand won't hold up against Rublev pummeling it with his into out forehand. Djokovic, Paul, Djokovic, Ruud to beat Leovic, Zverev, Hachanov, Zverev, Struff, Medvedev on a clay court. Neither player loves clay. Medvedev. Rublev Tsitsipas. Oh my word! This is the 4th round. Rublev Tsitsipas. What? Rublev could win that, you know. I want to go Tsitsipas based on recent form, but I don't know. Alcaraz, Gaston, Alcaraz. We're just assuming, by the way, that Alcaraz is going to be fully fit. This is me picking him, assuming that he's fully fit. I don't know. Hakac Tabio. I'm going to go for Tabio. Come on, make a run. Take that Rome form. Sinner Jarry, again, is Sinner 100% fit? If he's 100% fit, he probably wins this. If he's not, he doesn't. I'm going to go for Jarry. I'm going to go for Jarry. I'm going to go for... So I've got Djokovic, Ruud. These are my quarterfinals. Djokovic, Ruud, Zverev, Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Alcaraz, and Tabio and Jarry. I'm going to Jarry to beat Tabio. I'm actually going to go Tsitsipas beat Alcaraz. Just the arm and everything that's going on, and I haven't seen Tsitsipas play Alcaraz at Roland Garros on a slow clay court. I just don't know if Alcaraz is going to hold up. Is he going to hold up for 2 weeks? I'm not sure. I think Zverev will beat Medvedev. Medvedev on clay. I'm not feeling it at the moment. Ruud could beat Djokovic. He beat him in Monte Carlo. Djokovic, though, Slams is a different proposition. Are we seeing a changing, like a transition here, though? I don't know. I don't know. Djokovic could go on to win it, and I seem to pick him every single time. You know what? I'm going to go for Ruud to do it again. If he were to lose to Ruud in the quarterfinals, it would be a big, big moment because you know that, okay, right, something is definitely happening now because he's been beaten in a Grand Slam. And not just beaten in a Grand Slam, but like Sinner or an Alcaraz, but by Casper Ruud, who, no offense, Casper Ruud, but he's on the same caliber at the moment, right? On clay, he's a great clay courter, no doubt, but it's a different caliber. Different caliber. So semi-finals are really random, and that's kind of how I feel like it's going to be anyway. Of Ruud and Zverev, Tsitsipas and Jarry, I'm going to go for Zverev to beat Ruud. I'm going to go for Tsitsipas. Oh, Jarry beat Tsitsipas in Rome recently. Am I going to go for Jarry to make a Grand Slam final? I mean, uh, it would be random, but it wouldn't be crazy to think. You know what? We're going to go for Tsitsipas because my madness ends there. So I think, look, I've ended up picking really the two, in my opinion, most informed players. Look, I mean, if Djokovic is playing well, I mean, he just destroys everyone, in my opinion, on a clay court at the moment because Sinner, you know, there's questions around his hip and also the fact that like on clay doesn't look as unbeatable as he did, given that he's been the best player this year throughout the year on the hard courts, and then Alcaraz just hasn't quite managed to make it click consistently, and then has barely any clay court match time under his belt. And Zverev just won Rome. Tsitsipas has won. What was it? He's won Monte Carlo, final of Barcelona. I'm gonna go for Tsitsipas. I'm gonna go for Tsitsipas to beat Zverev in the final. Now Zverev's made a Grand Slam final before, as has Tsitsipas. They've both made one each. It would be both would be super hungry. It might be tense. You might see some double faults. I'll tell you that, but it should be entertaining final if we get it. I just have a feeling maybe it's time that we see a new Grand Slam champion. And we've seen Sinner this year. We saw Alcaraz obviously a couple of years ago. I think we might get another one. I think we might. So I'm going to go for that. Let me know in the comment section below who you picked and why. Guys, remember that like button. Do subscribe if you're new. Also, do share the video. Really appreciate each and every one of you. And also, shout out to our members because you guys are legends. But let me know in the comment section who you think is going to win the title in Roland Garros, and also what are your favorite matchups in the first round. Any other questions or comments you have on Roland Garros, leave them in the comments and I'll get to them as usual. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well. We'll see you in the next video.